Hey you guys, so thank you so much for leaving comments in the last video to let me know what you want to hear. So hopefully things don't get blocked. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I'm a shadow banned channel, even though I really don't call myself a reaction channel. I think that's a disservice to other channels who love doing reactions. I just do whatever. I share with you whatever I see, and I mostly just like to laugh and just spend time with you guys and see what you guys are doing. Speaking of which, let me see. I think there was something I want to watch with you guys. Let me see. Was it this one? No, I think we saw that one already. I was looking through comment. Oh! No, my husband always makes fun of me because he eats spicy and I can't eat spicy. There was something, I just don't know where it's at. Ooh, what do people in Vietnam think about Mexico? I really wonder. Ooh, first time eating MREs? No bueno. It's a lot of calories, that's what Jerry told me. Why do some Mexicans look Asian? I've always wondered that because a lot of people always ask me if I do, or if I am Asian. Like, no.
I've been receiving comments on my YouTube channel asking if I'm Vietnamese or Asian. When I was in Vietnam, I had a ton of questions by Vietnamese people asking if at least one of my parents was Vietnamese. They were very shocked when I told them that actually I was Latina, and some of them tried to convince me I had Vietnamese parents. And in some way, that caused an identity crisis in me. And I started to wonder, will I be Asian?
How cute.
It's the opposite in Mexico though. A lot of Mexicans would say I have an indigenous appearance, which is true. And well, I started to think more and more about my Asian appearance and why some people say I look Asian. But it's not only me, a lot of people here in Mexico look Asian as well.
Yeah.
So for sure, if they go to Asia, they will be asked the same question that I was asked. And probably Mexicans living in Asia are asked this question as well.
Wow.
In this country, there are loads of people with an incredible ethnic variety, from indigenous people to very white people. Of course, we can understand the inheritance the Spaniards left 100 years ago, but why do some of us look Asian? Well, stick around and I'll tell you all the information I found about this topic.
I am super psyched to know! Okay, this brings up another thing. A lot of you were talking about and nothing wrong with it, I'm talking about the Star-Spangled Banner, and a lot of you guys were disappointed. I was disappointed because a lot of you were like, well, this isn't true, and this isn't true, and this isn't right, and they should have proofread this, and I agree. Why put something up if it's not true? I had no idea of knowing. I watch stuff with you guys. I'll watch stuff with you guys so quickly, I won't put makeup on, I'll look horrible, I won't have lights on, there'll be so much noise in the background, I'll be sleepy, who knows? So, some people, they think, and I'm guilty of that too, only one person's gonna watch it, just the person they're making the video for. And it happens to be our luck. 15 people will watch it. Those 15 will share it with other people. Sometimes we're lucky and just that one person watches it. But in that woman's case, I think it was a woman who made the Star-Spangled Banner one that everybody seems to really like. So for you history buffs out there, and I don't have Jerry around, my best friend Jerry. If he wasn't a medic in Vietnam, he would have been a historian. He would have told me everything wrong with it. And then I would have been like, oh, let me tell you what Jerry told me, you know? So anyway, that's my little ramble on that. So let's go. And AK, quit deleting your comments. I need your comments. I saw you left me a comment, and then when I went to tell you, because I fell asleep because I'm exhausted, I worked myself ragged. I went to say, yes, okay, I'll do that one for you, because I know you've been trying to get me to do, there's one that you said was really good, And then you said, where do you find these funny videos? And it's like they get recommended to me from whomever I subscribe to. And then I went to click on it and you deleted it. Don't do it, girl. I love you. Just give me some hours to sleep and then I'll talk to you or comment. And if you got, if you don't want me to comment, I guess that's why you deleted it. All alone. All by myself. No friends. Nobody likes me. Do you feel guilty now? I hope so. I'm just kidding. Okay.
Everything started when the first settlers arrived to the Americas. They were people from Asia that had crossed the Bering Strait a ton of thousands of years ago. That's why the more indigenous the person is, the more remarkable the Asian features are. Not only in Mexico, but all around the American continent.
And if you historians see something wrong with this, let me know too, because you know what? I was not a good student in history. I thought it was so boring. I've said this before, and that's the wrong attitude to have. And I tell my kids, don't be like me. Enjoy history. Don't rhyme like me either. Don't rhyme like me. Enjoy history. It is the place to be. Yes, sirree. Anyway, I'm sorry. I just finished eating some salad and now I'm all...
This could be the first reason. I was born in a very small town in Mexico, and it's clear that my Spanish features are minimum. But this isn't the first reason. There could be more reasons that honestly, I wasn't aware of them before. I think the things I just researched weren't taught me at school. I suppose that history extends beyond what a textbook might provide. And if you know more information about this, please let me know in the comments.
See? She wants to know more as well.
People out there have asked me if I'm Vietnamese, but they also have asked me if I am from the Philippines.
Ooh.
And
she's just
yeah, Philippines and Mexicans look alike.
There are some studies that show that around 1/3 of the people living in Guerrero, the Pacific coastal state of...
Wait. Guerrero, I know, means warrior. Look at that. Veracruz, Puebla. I love saying Michoacan. I love saying the Mexican names. Nicaragua, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras. Some you can't, well, the Yucatan. Cancun is way over there. That's far. That is way over there. I like saying Oaxaca. Where is Oaxaca? Tabasco? That's probably where we get Tabasco sauce. You guys don't know. Like, I could learn this now, and in a month, I'll have no recollection. That's just how it goes. I used to think it was mom brain, but it's a combination of mom brain and then all the other information that I've got to shove into my brain about my kids. Because they're my number one priority. I have to, like, keep up with them, and it's tough. They're my world. Puerto Vallarta. Monterrey. I remember Selena saying that in her movie. Well, Jalisco. We have a restaurant here called Jalisco. They make the best. And also Colima's. They make the best food. Anyway, let's go. Sorry.
of Mexico
had 10% Asian ancient ancestry. This number is significantly high. They were related to people from the Philippines and some of them from Indonesia. This is because Spain had conquered the Philippines and Mexico, and they found one of the most important commercial routes, which was Manila, Acapulco, Veracruz, and finally Cadiz. This was very functional for around 2.5 centuries. The Spanish brought Filipino people as slaves or prisoners to help them with its trade, and the same way with Mexicans. So the Spanish took some Mexicans to the Philippines with the same purpose. That's why you've probably heard that Mexicans and Filipinos get along very well. We have similar cultures, religion, and even the Spanish language was one of the official languages until 1987. Before continuing, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be the first person to watch my video once it's released. I make these videos because I enjoy creating content.
As you saw, I've got a small channel, and if you like my work,
And if you want to support this channel by encourage me creating more and more videos, please become a patron. If not, I really appreciate that you are watching this video. I've got my social media, I've got my Instagram and Facebook here. So let's continue. When the Mexican War of Independence started, Mexican rebels were sent to the Philippines as a way of punishment to serve sentences. But it seems this wasn't a good plan because some stories say that the Mexican rebels in the Philippines encouraged this country to be independent as well. That's what I read. Please let me know in the comments if you have any other information or if you have more information. I'd be very glad to read your comments. And well, there were a lot of Filipino people here, but unfortunately, most of them lost their identity as they were all recorded as Chinos, which in English means Chinese. So, I don't know if this is the reason, but everything clicked on my head. In Mexico, we have a very common nickname, which is Chino, Chinese. This could be either because a person has a curly hair or because they look Asian. Actually, I've been called Chinita. And now that I'm thinking about more nicknames, I've been also called Koreanita, which means little Korean. And just to clarify, putting nicknames according to one's person features, it's just a playful way to express our feelings towards others. Believe it or not, this isn't racist here in Mexico.
It's true. In Mexico, well, I can't say that I've ever been to Mexico, but for some reason, like with my grandparents, my grandmother was very stubborn. Even though she came from Texas, she was born in Texas. I mean, Brownsville is like, I mean, my gosh, you step over 1 foot this way and you're practically in Mexico. She would not speak English. My grandfather learned how to speak English, and he was from Mexico. I helped him get his naturalization or his green card, whatever you want to say. And he told, my mom and my uncles and my aunts and everything, you're American now, so be American, speak English. So yes, what I found out later is that it was hard, they were told lots of things speaking their mother tongue, Spanish, and it was very difficult for them. And now it's the reverse. Now, we're being called, pocha and pocho, and for not speaking perfect Spanish. And, instead of helping me to embrace what I'm missing in my culture, it's like I'm being shamed for it. So why would I go out of my way to be a part of something that wants to look down on me? Why? When I can look at all these other cultures, all these other people who like me for just who I am. I get to meet all these people from different countries, and they are just happy, and that's how I want to be. So anyway, yes, my grandmother, if she saw somebody who was Chinese, she would call them Chinita. And I have a Uncle Pet, and he was Laotian. I have an Aunt Debbie, and she was black, and she would call her Café, means coffee. There's just different nicknames, and when something was little, like a little bit of something, you add the ita or ito at the end. Like she was saying, Chinita, a little bit Chinese or tiny Chinese or a little bit Korean, you know, a lot of people would think maybe that's racist, but in Mexico it's just almost like you love it. You love the cuteness of it almost to the point that it's just cute to death, you know. I have a nephew, Carlos. We call him Carlitos. Like, he's a little Carlos, and he's not little anymore. So I don't know. That's one of the things that I remember. So when she said that, that's what it reminded me of. Anyway.
Well, this is the second reason, but this isn't end here. There are two more reasons that are related to Japanese people and Chinese people. My nan has told me that I had a Japanese ancestor. For me, this was super weird because I'm from a very small city in the center of Mexico, so having Japanese blood isn't common, I think. So I never knew what happened with that side of the family, unfortunately.
My cousin married a half Japanese woman, so we have cousins that are Japanese, so I don't even know what to tell you. I told you, it's like the UN nations over here. Let's go.
But when I made this video, I found very interesting information about Japanese people settled in the center of Mexico, which is the area where I'm from. 3 or 4 decades before Pearl Harbor, there were a lot of Japanese people living in the United States and around 6,000 people living in Mexico. At that time, Japan was a thriving empire. Roosevelt government saw the Japanese people living in the United States as a threat. When the Second War was declared, the United States put the Japanese people in internment camps. The United States also sent some Japanese to Mexico. Roosevelt government asked Mexico to keep the Japanese people away from the northern border. So Mexico government put them in the center of the country so they could be easily monitored. The United States government also requested more Latin American countries to put Japanese people in internment camps. So if you wondered why there are a large community of Japanese people in Peru and Brazil, well, Mexico was following our northern neighbor requirements. That meant that Japanese people that were living here were suspects or being spies. I didn't know that they needed to report every movement to the government. Then, the Mexican Congress modified some laws, such as the penal codes, and they created the crime of espionage. So children from Japanese immigrants that couldn't prove that they were born here in Mexico were considered enemies. This is crazy, I didn't know this. After this, the situation got a little bit worse because soon this became persecution
of those who had Asian features.
So the children from Japanese people that were born here in Mexico didn't even know about their roots because their parents wanted them to keep safe. I can't believe it. This was very traumatic for Japanese people at that time living here, and slowly they lost their customs, religion, language, and even some of them changed their last name. They were silent for decades about what happened without letting the children and grandchildren knowing about this. So my nan told me that my granddad's granddad changed his last name because it was very difficult to pronounce. But now that I know this, I wonder, was this the real reason? Although we can still see people in Mexico carrying a Japanese last name, of course. But this is something I ignored. If you're Mexican and if you have Japanese ancestors, and if you know the story, I'd love to hear that. What happened in that situation?
Wow.
And as I said at the beginning of the video, there was another culture that probably left inheritance, and this happened in the north of Mexico. At the end of the 19th century, there was a large immigration of Chinese people to the United States to work in the construction of railways. At the end of this construction, the United States issued a law because they didn't longer need them.
This coincided with the development of Mexicali in the state of Baja California.
This city required labor as the Mexicans at that time weren't enough to do the job. For this reason, from 1910 to 1920, the entry of Asian people was facilitated. And well, I was very surprised for all this information. As you can see, there are loads of factors that make us Mexican look Asian. If you're Mexican, let me know what do you think about this. If you have an Asian ancestry, tell me your story. I haven't taken a DNS yet. As I said, it wasn't important to me until very recently, so I hope to take it soon and I let you know what happened. I don't know how to describe physically a Mexican person because all of us are totally different. You can easily tell when you walk around the streets in Mexico. That's why when I had this first experience in Vietnam, when people there were saying that I looked Asian or Vietnamese, this was quite a surprising experience because I haven't thought about how a person should look. In Mexico, we have a mix of cultures: Spanish, African, Asian, indigenous. All these mix gives our own identity. Well, let me know what you think. I'm gonna leave all the links below in the description where I read all this information. I hope you find it interesting. This video was a little bit different, but I enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed it as well. And thank you very much. My name is Karen. I'm Mexican and I'm making videos about things that I like, basically. Well, see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe.
I like her. I don't know what to say. I did that whole like DNA thing where you just kind of put a little bit of like saliva in a thing and send it off, and of course they said I'm native not just here but native in Mexico, so I was just happy with that. They said a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't know what I did with the paper, but my dad was killed when I was 3, so you know, asking him his background when I would visit when I was really young. My grandmother had green eyes and my uncles had blue and green eyes, and they were light skinned. You know, some of my uncles had more tan. They're just really sweet people, you know, fluent Spanish. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the culture is lost. I was told we have more family in Texas, more family in Mexico, and stories and things, but you know, what can I say? I'm not close to anyone except for my family that's here, and yeah. So this was really interesting. People tell me all the time, or used to tell me all the time, I looked everything but Mexican. So that's why I will always tell people I'm Mexican, and they just yeah and laugh. But I'm like, no, really. So it was really cool. It was a conversation starter, icebreaker. So that's it. See what's next. I might just take a break, I don't know, and go plant some things. It's such a beautiful day. We'll see. Alright, bye.